What was the decision of all musicals? Why you decided to bring West Side Story back to the screen?
For me, West Side Story is the greatest American musical. There are two great American musicals, in my opinion. The first one is West Side Story, but the greatest American opera is Porgy and Bess by George Gershwin. And I really felt that West Side Story was the great American musical. And it had such an impact on me as a 10-year-old child whose parents brought home the original cast album and played it for their son. And I memorized the entire album within a couple of weeks. So that score, that music, and the story, the Romeo and Juliet story, the love bridging the divide of hate and racial racial discrimination. Those themes followed me throughout my life, and I always wished and dreamed that someday, and everybody says, well, haven't all your dreams come true? And I always say, but I haven't made that musical yet that I've always wanted to make. And the only musical I ever wanted to make was West Side Story. And it's not a remake of the 1961 movie at all. It's a reimagining of the original 57 Broadway show. That's a very important distinction for me.
Oh, that's nice to hear because, yeah, many people were expecting to see something that we were familiar with. And the story is going to be familiar for all generations because it's based on Romeo and Juliet. But what was different this time? That reimagination, what do you want to bring to the screen?
Just a deepening of all the characters. Every character is deeper and is more complicated because people are complex. And Tony Kushner, who did a brilliant job writing the screenplay, created a lot of complications inside that Puerto Rican family in that apartment, complications between Maria and her brother Bernardo, complications between Bernardo and the love of his life, Anita. The Tony-Maria relationship isn't a Walt Disney sort of clean, sort of Snow White and Prince Charming relationship. It's a complicated relationship based on issues of race and the divisions that lie thereunder. So it was a much more deeply explored story. We explored the depths of those characters, and I think that's why this movie is completely original.
Yeah, it's been 60 years since the first movie came out, but the subjects, the themes are still very relevant. What do you think? We haven't changed a lot of the things that were happening back then, and they're still going on these days.
But no, no, of course we haven't. You know, the division is only more exceptional in this country. The division between people, ideological, political, racial division is just growing, and it's just growing exponentially. I haven't even imagined that we could be such a divided nation, almost like we were just before the Civil War in 1860. So I really feel strongly that this movie isn't going to cure any of that, but it's going to bring choices about when do you start to have the conversation between people who don't agree with each other. Do you have it before a tragedy to avert tragedy, or like in West Side Story, there's a conversation and the bringing the two sides together happen after the tragedy? Can we find a way to start getting into more conversations between people of different opinions and different upbringings and different values?
How was bringing Rita Moreno back to the story? She was in the Rita movie, now she's back with a new character. How was, did you ask her, oh, this is going this way? Or how was the relationship with her?
Oh, it was wonderful. I've been an admirer of hers for so long. She has a spectacular personality. She's a great actor. And Tony Kushner and I decided to make the character of Doc that used to be played by a Jewish man. He's passed away now in our story, and his widow, Valentina, who's from Puerto Rico, has taken over the candy store. And there was no one in our imaginations that could play that role better than the great, inimitable Rita Moreno. Nobody else could have done it like her. I had my fingers crossed that she'd like the part, that she'd like the character, and she loved the script and loved the character, committed to being in our movie. But when I started meeting with her, I realized that she would have an even greater value serving as executive producer of the entire endeavor. And she really fulfilled that she earned her stripes on this.